circulars on gender and development issued by the Cooperative Development Authority. Ito, meron tayong mas nabanggit, yung 2013-22 and 2017-04. So, yung ating 2013-22 ay yung mga guidelines on mainstreaming gender and development in cooperatives. At yung ating Memorandum Circular number 2017-04 naman ay yung tool for assessing gender equality in primary cooperatives as supplemental to MC 2013-2022. So, para lamang siyang yung ating mga ingredients at yung paano natin lulutuin. Ganun lang kasimple, no? Kung ano yung sinasaad sa 2013-2022, yun naman yung paraan ng pagluluto natin sa ating Memorandum Circular number 2017-04. Okay, so I hope na nag-breakfast na kayo dyan at hindi kayo nagugutom. So we will continue with our presentation. So, we will start first with MC 2013-2022. Tingnan natin. And this was, I think, sometime in November 2013. No? At this has been published and also have been finalized. No? Importante kasi hindi lang ma-publish sa newspaper at bigyan din natin ng kopya yung University of the Philippines Office of the National Administrative Registrar. Okay. Ano bang purpose ng circular na to? Of course, number one, to disseminate to the cooperative sector the gender and development mandate of the government. And number two, to ensure the promotion of gender equality and institutionalization of GAD in policies, programs, and other activities of the cooperatives, and to mandate the monitoring of progress in the implementation of GAD programs and activities of cooperatives towards achieving gender equality. So, I'd just like to emphasize yung ating mga ibang kooperatiba, may kilala tayo dyan na ang dami-daming proyekto, ang dami-daming programa, pero wala pa tayong polisiya, kaya kailangan natin itong meron tayong policies, programs, and later on we will see ano pa yung mga ibang requirements para magamit natin yung ating mga social funds at hindi agad charge doon sa ating operational expenses. Okay, let's continue. So ano bang scope ng circular na ito? Kasali ba lahat ng cooperatives? Yes. So lahat ng kooperatiba duly registered with the Cooperative Development Authority are covered. Ano ba yung aspects ng GAD mainstreaming? Of course, may policy tayo. We have this policy which is must be approved, no, and implemented, no, related sa ating gender and development and ang ating gender equality. Ayan. Okay, so next. Of course, dapat meron tayong cooperative development plan, yung sinasabi natin kanyang programs and projects and policies, mga strategiya, i-address yung mga issues and concerns on gender and policy implementation. So, kailangan may budget, no? Of course, yung budget ay dapat meron tayong mga iba-ibang komitiba at iba-ibang mga bodies na tutulungan. Hindi lamang yung mga ating focal person, hindi lamang yung POD, hindi lamang yung mga empleyado, kundi lahat-lahat ay magtutulungan para maka-come up tayo ng ating budget for the PAPs and the Cooperative Development Plan. Ano itong mga PAPs? Ito yung ating programs, activities, and projects. Dapat makikita yung ating gender PAPs and in the Cooperative Development Plan are implemented. And of course, meron tayong mga mechanisms and instruments established sa ating co-op para ma-ensure ating GAD mainstreaming ay facilitated, implemented, at monitored. So I'd just like to emphasize yung monitoring, no? Para pala tayo nitong government din, no? Nagmo-monitor sa ating mga projects at sana hindi lang basta-basta maiiwanan. So ano yung examples of co-op policy on gender and development? Halimbawa, we adopt MC 2013-2022. We create the GAD committee and appoint the GAD focal person. We approve the GAD plan and budget formulated as results of the GAD assessment tool. So we'll go to the tool later on. Nandito pa tayo sa ating 2013-2022. Of course, meron tayong GAD plan and budget na integrated sa ating co-op development plan, and ni-review and revise natin yung mga co-op policy with gender inclusion, halimbawa sa HR, sa election guidelines, sa credit policy, at iba pang mga specific policies ng ating co-op, services, and products. So, paano ba tayo gagawa ng co-op development plan? Of course, ang ating co-op development plan, we have the results yung sa ating GAD assessment tool. Ang ating mga kasamahan mamaya ay magde-demo, mag-actual sila, no? Mag-scoring tayo. Makikita natin paano gagamitin yung GAD assessment tool. Gagawa tayo ng GAD plan and budget at doon natin ma-develop at ma-finalize yung ating co-op development plan. So ano bang mga examples ng PAPs natin? So we have capacity building program sa people, no? Sa officers, staff, members, and community, gender orientation. We have gender sensitivity training. Meron tayong GST for the onboarding of officers or staff. Specific gender topics like Anti-Sexual Harassment Act, Magna Carta of Women, Violence Against Women and Children, Gender and Family Enrichment, Family Budgeting and Planning, at iba pa. At dito naman sa ating social-related activities, meron tayong gender-sensitive medical mission, Operation Tuli, or circumcision for boys, of course, tree planting or plant seed giving, yung ating mga brigada eskwela, community pantry, relief operations, and medical mission addressing specific needs of men, women, members, and their families. So, ano ba yung source natin sa ating budget? Saan ba tayo pwedeng magkuha ng funds, no? That will determine the success and effectivity of any GAD program or project. We have one, the internal, and the other, the external. Ano yung mga internal sources ng ating GAD budget? Ito yung sumusunod. CETF, CDF, Optional Fund, and Operations Fund. And of course, dapat yung ating GAD PAPs ay integrated talaga sa co-op development plan para makakuha tayo ng budget allocation. So para rin pala tayong gobyerno, no, kongreso, meron tayong mga budget hearing, meron tayong budget proposals, then i-approve ng ating General Assembly after we have this cooperative development plan, no? Okay? So, let's proceed. Ano naman yung external sources ng ating GAD budget? So, pwede pala tayong mag-source outside of our cooperative. Local government units. Of course, yung ibang mga government agencies. Donor organizations, so baka may mga mga foundation galing sa abroad. Funding agencies, and others. Ano naman yung ating GAD mainstreaming mechanisms and instruments? So we're still with 2013-22, mind you, we'll go later to the tools. Okay? So yung GAD committee, meron tayong GAD committee. Ano ito? These are appointed by the board of directors, must be composed of at least 3 members, provided at least 1 member shall come from the board, okay? Then elect from among themselves a chairperson and hold office until replaced by the board. Okay, so dito pala mangyari, no? Merong GAD committee na ang chairperson ay hindi BOD. So, kasi pwede naman dito na kahit sino maging chairperson, sila mag-e-elect. Okay? GAD focal person. Who is the GAD focal person? Siya ay designated from the BOD, from the recommendees or recommendee of the management. He or she must be an employee of the cooperative and perform GFP roles as additional function. So, dapat pala talaga empleyado, no? Although hindi naman talaga ito minsan empleyado, minsan board of director din, minsan mga committee members, but if you have to follow strictly the MC, dapat pala talagang empleyado ito ng ating kooperatiba. Now, what about the GAD education and training program? The cooperative has to identify the GAD and gender equality related education and training programs. The GAD related training must be included in the co-op annual education training plan. No? So, ang dami na natin palang approve na budgets and mga plans, no? Not only our operational expense or CSR, CTF, pati itong GAD dapat hindi natin makakalimutan. Now, what is the GAD support systems and services? Yung kooperatiba natin dapat i-implement yung other services that address gender development and gender issues and concerns. It should also develop and establish necessary support systems that will enhance implementation of the GAD and gender equality services of the cooperative. So, yung ating mga programa, yung ating mga polisiya ay dapat mag-support dito sa ating mga gender and development at yung mga gender equality services ng ating co-op. Monitoring. Okay, so hindi pala ito basta-basta pababayaan na lang natin. There should be a system of monitoring the progress of the implementation of GAD programs, projects, and activities of the cooperative towards gender equality. Hopefully, the CDA could also give us some guidelines, no? Ano bang klaseng monitoring ba ito? Is it weekly, monthly, or quarterly? And what are the things that we have to look for and see that the GAD and GE are fully implemented and sustained? So, meron din tayong mga reports sa ating General Assembly which include updates on the implementation of gender plans and programs, and social performance reports to CDA. Ay kailangan meron tayong mga GAD accomplishments. Okay, we'll now go to MC 2017-04, no? So ito yung ating tool for assessing the gender equality in primary cooperatives as supplemental to Memorandum Circular 2013-2022. So that's a copy of the MC, okay? Ano bang purpose ng circular na ito? Ang purpose nito is to disseminate to the cooperative sector the tool for assessing gender equality in cooperatives, to assess the cooperative's progress in mainstreaming gender and development towards achieving gender equality. Alam natin na tinuruan tayo ng GERC noon, meron tayong parang I think it's PowerPoint or Excel, no? Excel program na meron tayong pang-add ng mga iba-ibang points, iba-ibang elemento, at meron tayong score. Malalaman natin kung ano ba ang dapat natin i-improve, ano ba dapat natin i-maintain. Yan ay lahat ay malalaman din natin mamaya sa i-demo ng ating mga kasama kung ano itong paggamit ng tool na ito. So the tool itself is very long, no? I think it's 17 pages and 20 pages, no, yung tool, pati yung ating mga annexes niya. But my colleagues later on from this Mindanao group will show in detail kung ano yung mga iba't ibang mga elements na kailangan dito. But I will give a short summary kung ano yung ating mga matatouch dito sa ating tool. Okay, so these are basically grouped into cooperative information, yung level of gender equality sa ating kooperatiba, yung score, paano natin pag-score, at yung interpret natin yung score. So yun yung mga components ng ating tool. And of course, we could use all of this to come up with our GAD plan. So basic lang ito, yung cooperative information, kailan tayo na-register, ilan yung members natin, magkano yung capital natin, magkano yung subscribe, yung paid up, at iba pang mga indicators. So, more or less, nandito na rin yan siya sa ating mga annual reports. Makikita natin yan. Ayan. So, next is the level of gender equality in the cooperative. So, meron tayong mga nakikita na may mga kooperatiba na mas marami yung male officers, male management, and male board of directors. Iba naman. So nakikita dito ngayon kung gaano ka-balanse yung ating gender equality sa ating cooperative. Scoring instruction. So para lang din na meron siyang mga points, meron siyang percentages which will be demonstrated later on. Then after that, ma-interpret natin yung scores natin. Usually in the form of yung SWOT analysis, no? So in the SWOT analysis, we will see our strengths, our weaknesses, opportunities and threats, no? So makikita natin doon. At yung sinabi natin na kung ano yung kailangan natin mag-improve, anong kailangan natin i-maintain, no? Iba pang mga dapat tandaan para ma-maintain yung ating gender development programs and the level of gender equality in the co-op. So, ano ba itong tool na to, no? So, ang itong tool talaga is an assessment framework based on the indicators classified into 4 gender mainstreaming entry points. People, yung una. Our policies. Yung ating mga other programs, projects, and activities. And of course, our enabling mechanism. So, kompletos rekados na talaga, no? So, of course, our people will be ang ating mga empleyado, ating mga management, ang ating mga members, ang ating mga officers and board of directors. The policies, all the policies must have a gender equality factor, or minsan yung ating tinatawag na sex disaggregated data, that's SDD. Makikita natin kung sino bang mas matyaga magbayad ng utang, yung babae o lalaki. Sino bang mas masipag mag-recruit ng member, yung babae or lalaki. Of course, aside from the age and the income, but we could also use this gender data for the other economic and non-economic development of our co-op. So, more or less, mga 20 performance indicators yan siya. Now, ano itong tool, no? Ito ay makatulong i-assess ang ating progress sa ating cooperatives in implementing gender equality. I-rate niya rin ang extent na which the cooperative lives the universal cooperative principles of equality, equity, social responsibility, and caring for others, as outlined in the statement of the cooperative identity of the International Cooperative Alliance. So it's not only domestic but also international yung ating sinusunod na standards. Okay, so how do we adapt the tool? So we adapt the tool, makikita natin doon yung mga sa later part ng MC, which will is too small for you to read, but mas ma-appreciate natin mamaya kapag meron na tayong mag-fill up ng ating mga data at mag-interpret din yung ating makasama. And of course, tutulungan naman tayo ng GERC mamaya sa ating actual and yung ating interpretation. No? So, nakasaad lang dito sa Section 5, dapat daw yung tool, the cooperatives must adopt the tools for assessing the gender equality in cooperatives, yung naka-attach dito, and dapat must come up with their gender-responsive cooperative development program in accordance with the result of the assessment. So, depende kung anong nakalagay doon sa tool, kulang ba ng babae sa empleyado, sobra bang lalaki sa board of directors, konti lang ba yung ating membro na babae. So, we do not expect a 50-50 or equal distribution, but at least we just narrow the gap. So, ito ay base lang din sa 2013-2022 na I have mentioned earlier, ay tungkol sa GAD implementation. So, that's all for our presentation.